I'm still a student of music, and I'm hoping that you'll become a student of music as well. Perhaps I can be your guide along the way. So, let's talk about the parts of the guitar. So, first of all, this right here, this is an acoustic guitar. And the cool thing about acoustic guitar is you don't need to plug it in order to play it. As of right now, I actually have it plugged in so you can hear it a little bit better because this is acoustic electric. But just based on its appearance, it is an acoustic guitar. You don't need an amp to play it, to get sound from it. So that sound you heard just now is my hand hitting the body of the guitar. Down here you have the bridge. Over here you have the fretboard. And what allows the fretboard to be where it is because there is a neck. At the end of the neck you have the head or the headstock. And on the headstock you have 6 tuning knobs. These tuning knobs correspond with our 6 strings. The sound of music. So, in Western music, we have what's called standard tuning. So, because we have standard tuning, we have specific note names that we tune these 6 strings to. So, from top to bottom, we have low E, A, D, G, B, and high E. So, starting out, how are you going to remember these 6 string note names? There's 2 ways that I can think of. There's the one I came up with, which is every awesome day gets better everywhere. Every awesome day gets better everywhere. A lot of my younger students like this one. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. Not one of my favorites, but some people like it. Anyhow, whatever helps you remember the order and the note names works for me. So, those are 6 strings. Those are the parts of the guitar. We mentioned the fretboard, but now let's talk about the frets. So, each of these squares is a fret. And depending on which fret I put my finger on while I'm playing a string, that'll determine the note that I get. I won't go too deeply into note names, but let's say, for example, I'm on the high E string that is at the bottom, and I put my finger, any finger, on the very first fret, and I hold it down, and then I play it with my right hand. Do you hear the difference? Right, so we've gone from this note to this note. So the note has actually gotten higher. Not the volume, but the actual pitch of the note has gotten higher. And if we continue to go to the right, it'll continue to get higher. Right? So that's how the fretboard works, and the same thing I did on this high E string, I can do the same thing on the other 5 strings. right? So we notice how as we go from left to right, the notes get higher, the pitches get higher. But there's something else that I didn't mention that we're going to revisit right now. So I put a finger on the fret and I played a note. So when I didn't put a finger on the fret and played that string, this is called playing the string open. So if I play without putting any fingers on any of the frets or holding down any of the frets, then that string would be played open. All right. So those are just some basic things to know about our guitar. And then just as a way to reference where we want to put our fingers on our left hand onto the guitar, onto the fretboard, we call the index finger the first finger, middle finger second finger, the ring finger the third finger, and then the pinky finger the fourth finger. So first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. And in rare cases, you may even use the thumb, which is controversial for some reason, but I refer to that as the fifth finger, or finger 5. In another video, I'll discuss how we kind of look at and understand how to read guitar chord charts. But as for right now, I'm just going to teach you how to play a chord by instructing you based on the information I've given you so far. So I'm going to play a chord. What is a chord? A chord is the combination of 2 or more notes, whether you play them at the same time or you play them one after the other melodically. It is a chord. It is a harmony of 2 or more notes. So I'm going to teach you how to play one, because if I don't teach you how to play one, there's a good chance you'll only be playing this. And we like this. There's a name for this chord, but I'm not going to tell you that. It's too early. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with our index finger, which we said is our first finger. And we're going to put our first finger onto the first fret of the G string. So for the G, that is going to be third from the bottom. That's the bottom string, which is high E. Then we've got the B string above that, and then above that, we've got the G that I just played open. So now I'm going to add my first finger to the first fret of that G. Hear the difference? Okay, so while I have my first finger here, I'm going to add my second finger or middle finger to the second fret of the A string. Now the A string is second from the top. We have our low E string at the top, and then right beneath that we have our A. So I'm going to put my second finger on that string. Alright, now we just need to add one more finger to our fretboard. Now we're going to add our third finger or ring finger to the second fret of the D string. So just to make this a little bit faster for you and for me, the D string is right beneath the A string. So I'm going to put my third finger on that string. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, while we're holding down our 3 fingers on the 3 frets we just placed our fingers onto, we're going to play every string from the low E string all the way down to the high E string. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Right? So what we just played is called the E major chord. Now, I'll play it again. So there is a possibility that if this is your first time playing a chord, that maybe it doesn't sound exactly like this. And there are a few reasons why. One reason might be Perhaps your guitar isn't in tune to the standard tuning that we went over, which is E, A, D, G, B, E. That's potentially one reason. Another reason could be maybe your fingers might not be on the right frets or the right strings. And then if those aren't the reason, there's also the chance that maybe your fingers aren't holding the strings down hard enough. So when playing guitar, over time you're going to develop calluses on the tips of your fingers. And the calluses are there to make playing guitar much easier. Like, our skin wasn't made to hold down steel strings or nickel wound steel strings, right? So the calluses, they act as a barrier that kind of cover our fingers to do this and make it a lot more comfortable. Starting out, you won't have those calluses yet, so this might be the time where it's slightly more challenging. But as you continue to practice, your fingers will develop those calluses. And that might be a reason why. Perhaps your fingers might not be holding the strings down hard enough. Which is why I always like to go through each string one by one. And if something isn't ringing out the way it should be, then I can make adjustments with my fingers on my left hand. So I'll start from the low E string at the top and go through them one by one, because this is what we want to hear when we play the E major chord. So that was every string one by one. Now, just in case you have to make any additional adjustments with your left hand, or adjustments with tuning, or just making sure that your fingers are in the right place, you can rewind this video. You can pause the video right here before we move on, because we don't have to rush through this. That's one of the best things about learning guitar. There is no rush. We're going to learn this at your pace, at the best pace, at a pace that works for you. All right? So once you're ready, and once you have matched this sound for each string for this chord, the E major chord, then we're going to move on. But I'll be here. All right? Cool. Okay. So if you're ready, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about playing chords by strumming them. So I've been doing this. I've been playing each string of the chord one string at a time. But let's say I wanted to hit all those strings essentially at the same time. So we do this, or we achieve this, by strumming. Alright, so the cool thing about strumming is it really gives us a full sound from our guitar. And depending on how hard you strum, that'll determine how loud the guitar will be. Right? So if you're strumming quietly, it'll sound like a gentle brush across the strings. But then, if you play harder, it'll sound like you're about to sing a song, or someone's about to sing along. Alright? So, we've strummed, and what we did just now is we strummed downward. But you can also strum upward. So there's strumming downward and strumming upward. Downward, upward. So we can access a limitless amount of strumming patterns by alternating between strumming down and up. So, First, what we're going to do is we're going to just practice strumming down, and we're going to use our E major chord that we learned earlier on, and we're just going to strum that downward a few times. So we're strumming downward. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, so now that we've done that, what we could also do is we can strum upward. So we're going to do the same exercise except strumming upward, all right? Also, I will note that you're probably not able to see this, but when I strum downward, I'm kind of using this area of my 4 fingers here, and then when I'm strumming upward, I'm kind of using this area of my thumb, right? Now with the chord. Downward strumming. Now let's try it with the thumb, upward strumming. Alright, so now that we've done some downward strumming and some upward strumming, let's try strumming down 3 times and then up once. So that's going to be down, 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 up. And let's try that with our E major chord. So actually let's loop that. Let's get comfortable doing this strumming pattern. All right? So we've got all right. So that's just one strumming pattern of many, more than I can count. So depending on what you're going for musically, that will determine the type of strumming pattern you're doing. And by what you're going for musically, I'm referring to rhythm. So the rhythm is going to be set by the way that you play the instrument and the way that you approach the beat, right? So we're focusing on 4. So we strummed down, right? So that was 4 strums. And in common time, which is 4/4 time, we have 4 beats in each measure. So we essentially played a measure or a bar of music by doing this. Right? So depending on which strumming pattern I use, I can achieve different rhythms. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 4, I was counting 1, 2, 3. So that wasn't common time anymore. That wasn't 4/4 time. That was 3/4 time. So there's different ways to approach it depending on the time signature you're playing and the rhythm that you're trying to achieve. But I don't want to give you too much to think about right now. We just started on guitar. I just want you to get comfortable learning and learning at your own pace. And that's what these videos are for. If you found this to be helpful, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if not, go ahead and give me a thumbs down. And if you've got additional feedback, I'd love to see what you've got to say in the comment section. I strive to give you quality lessons in video form, and the more feedback that I get from you is the better that I'll become at delivering these messages in this form. But maybe perhaps you would like to do direct FaceTime, Zoom, Google Meets, remote lessons. Well, you're in luck because I'm offering those as well. If you're interested in such lessons, you can go ahead and send an email to Xander Elion, that's XanderElion at gmail.com, and in the subject line you can simply put guitar lessons. And then if you have any additional specific questions you would like to ask, go ahead and ask those, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great musical day. Peace.